It was a dark and stormy night as Sarah waited at the deserted bus stop. The wind howled through the trees, sending chills down her spine. She pulled her coat tighter around her, desperately trying to shield herself from the biting cold. The rain poured relentlessly, drenching her clothes and making her feel even more isolated. As minutes turned into what felt like hours, Sarah began to grow uneasy. The bus was already late, and there was no sign of any other passengers. The eerie silence was broken only by the distant rumble of thunder. Doubts crept into her mind, but she tried to dismiss them, reassuring herself that the bus would arrive soon. Suddenly, Sarah heard a faint sound coming from the shadows. She strained her eyes to see through the darkness, heart pounding in her chest. There, emerging from the mist, was a figure, a tall, shadowy figure that seemed to materialize out of thin air. Fear gripped Sarah as she watched the figure approach. Its steps were slow and deliberate, each one echoing ominously in the deserted surroundings. She wanted to run, but her feet felt rooted to the ground. She could now make out its features, a pale face with hollow eyes, a twisted smile that sent shivers down her spine. The figure stopped a few feet away from Sarah, its eerie gaze fixed upon her. It raised a bony finger and pointed towards the road. Sarah's heart raced, her mind filled with a paralyzing dread. She followed its gaze and saw headlights approaching through the rain-soaked darkness. The bus had finally arrived, summoning all her courage. Sarah boarded the bus, desperate to escape the terror that had enveloped the bus stop. But as she stepped inside, she realized something was horribly wrong. The bus was empty, no passengers, no driver. The interior was cold and dimly lit, the air heavy with an unsettling silence. Fear consumed Sarah as the bus started moving on its own accord, the rain pounding against the windows like an incessant drumbeat. Panic rose within. The bus veered off the familiar route, taking her deeper into the desolate countryside. She tried to scream, but no sound escaped her lips. Minutes turned into an eternity as the bus continued its relentless journey. Sarah's mind raced, desperately searching for a way out. She had become trapped in a nightmare, a twisted game orchestrated by an unknown force. Finally, the bus screeched to a halt in the middle of nowhere. The doors creaked open, revealing a moonlit graveyard before her. The figure from the bus stop stepped out, its haunting presence filling the air. It turned toward Sarah, its smile widening. Terror consumed her as the figure beckoned her to step out. But as she hesitated, a surge of defiance coursed through her. She refused to be a victim, a pawn in this horrifying game. With every ounce of strength she had left, Sarah lunged towards the figure, pushing it aside. Running through the graveyard, Sarah could feel the figure's presence close behind her. But she refused to give in. She sprinted towards the main road, desperately waving down the first passing car. As the car screeched to a halt, Sarah collapsed, breathless and shaking. She looked back, half expecting to see the figure still pursuing her. But there was only darkness, a darkness that hid the horrors she had endured. The bus stop would forever be etched in Sarah's memory as a place of terror and despair. It was a night she would never forget, a chilling encounter with a malevolent force that lurked in the shadows. And though she escaped with her life, she would forever be haunted by the horrors of that night at the bus stop.